day, my brothers and sisters of the Order. Welcome back to the Order. I am Celtic Templar. And today, y'all, we're going to be talking about Christmas during the American Civil War. Now, when we understand the idealism of conflict and Christmas, for example, there is a major type of idealism that of which, well, many people want to wonder about. And in fact, it seems that on our poll, apparently a lot of my viewers wanted actually me to talk about the, well, American Civil War during the time of Christmas, or in this case, the Christmas time during the American Civil War. Now, what we have to understand, though, is that the American Civil War happened in, well, the year of 1861. And in such, well, that's to say, it was not exactly a short war. In fact, many United States soldiers, and as well many Confederate soldiers, on both sides actually believed that the war was going to be a short one. However, if we know from the Battle of First Manassas on July 21st of 1861, this would not become so. It's actually stated that December of 1861, it seems that both sides would actually start to sing in a type of form. It's actually stated that in 1861, on the Potomac River, the Union soldiers were heard singing Silent Night, or as well, even some say, Little Drummer Boy, and so on. This would be when one Confederate soldier, known by the name of Thomas Haynes, would actually start to walk out toward the banks of the said river. And there he'd start to play his violin, keeping in tune with the Union soldiers. It's later stated that he actually remarked, saying, "The only way to make that Yankee music sound good is if you get a little bit of a southern touch to it." Upon walking out to the bank, he was later stated to have started to play his violin in open plain view upon a rock. Union soldiers could extremely hear the cold, deafening silence, and in such, they heard it through it all. The violin pierced through the silence, and into the said Union hearts. Union soldiers would later state that they actually heard the violin play in such a manner and tone that it actually sounded like music of heaven. Both Union and Confederate soldiers then started to sing along to the tune, of which was none other than the infamous O Holy Night. It's later stated that these men would actually start to play and sing along, and as well do trading along the Potomac River. Some say that, in fact, it's actually stated that the Confederates would actually trade tobacco, hemp, and as well sometimes beef and pork rinds, or in this case type food, to the Union, in which the Union would do the same with the beef and pork food. As well, they would actually trade them with coffee, or as well sometimes wool blankets. Both the Union and Confederate forces actually inspiringly, well, admired each other's resolve, rather than fight, especially on the 21st of December, or especially even on the 24th. This Christmas truce had actually lasted from, well, Christmas Eve night on December 24th till December 25th of the afternoon. These men had actually stated to have even been playing a type of version of baseball game instead of using the, well, regular triangle design. It's actually stated that both Confederates and Union soldiers would actually play what you might call keep away, if you could call it that. And such, what would happen is, on one side of the bank, say for example the Confederates, they would actually throw a ball towards the Union, who in which would try and hit the ball back to the Confederate lines. A point would be added if, say for example, if it was a strike. However, if the ball was hit, then it would be a point for the Union. But however, if the Confederates could capture the ball before it landed, then it would be a point for the Confederacy. So, it was kind of a hilarious deal. And in fact, this would actually keep going on from the year of 1861 to 1864, and even into 1865. However, then it would be extremely rare. Now, there is many stories out of which some people actually during the time of the conflict, especially none other than, well, Abraham Lincoln and Jefferson Davis, actually were trying to make a peace negotiation with each other in order to end the conflict. Problem is, though, they did not run by it to their commanders, and in such, it's stated that, well, they both ordered their forces to stand down. However, both Union and Confederate forces were later stated to have actually made their way towards each other, and as well started the Battle of Fort Zion Church on December 28th of 1861 in Missouri. This would not lead to any peace negotiations. However, there was a known incident that happened at the Battle of Fredericksburg on December 11th to December 15th of 1862 in Virginia, especially on December the 14th. Especially at night, it was stated that both Union and Confederate forces could actually see the Aurora Borealis, the northern lights, of which was a rare thing to see that far south. And the thing is, it was also a rare thing to ever see it anywhere else in the country. And the fact is, it was. Many Union soldiers actually later took this as a bad omen that the Confederacy had the side of God on them. This would later on actually lead to many type of cases. And as well, there was also the Angel Fredericksburg, a Confederate soldier that was later stated to have made his way out towards the enemy positions of no man's land in order to tend to the dead, who were badly injured and dying. Upon the major defeat at the Battle of Fredericksburg, it would later encourage none other than Jefferson Davis to later actually, push for another attempt at peace. Problem is, Lincoln would not have it. Especially after the major defeat he was dealt at Fredericksburg. Even though during this point in time in history, both sides actually knew that the conflict would still last longer than it should have. And it's still, many people don't realize, is that the American Civil War would get worse from here point out. However, in the year of 1862, along the Potomac River, while actually witnessing their men actually partake in the festivities that they were causing, two officers, one from the north and one from the south, the Union would actually have a Lieutenant Colonel Damon Mean, and as well a said Southerner by the name of Lieutenant Zem Helm, would actually later, trade pocket watches to each other. Now, this was a rare occasion, and in such, each year they would actually do this, from 1862 of December to 1865. However, even long after that, they would actually still trade pocket watches with each other, time and time again, even long after the war ended. As well, whenever it came to December, there is a major possibility that many Union and Confederate soldiers were actually traded in for other prisoners of war. And such, they would actually trade in such and such officers for this amount of soldiers. And in such, this was actually what we call the Act of Chivalry. This would actually be kept up from 1861 to 1863. However, by the time we reach 1864, this was starting to not be seen. In fact, Abraham Lincoln had actually later stated to abolish the idea of ever allowing that to happen. So, pretty much over, many Union and Confederate soldiers would later die because of this incident. What we have to understand, though, is that during the American Civil War, there was actually a major peace along the areas through and throughout each year. And in fact, there would be no conflict on the 24th or the 25th of December, mainly because for the honor of God and His Son. And in such, many people would actually have this bad feeling that God would go against them in the later long run. But in such, the American Civil War would still hold to it. And as well, the infamous group that actually started to sing and play along the Potomac River later became known as the Potomac River Choir, or in this case, the Potomac River Band, if you were speaking it in the South. And such, these men would actually be infamous throughout both North and South, and in fact, many papers were written about them. However, by the war's end, only 103 ever survived the conflict. And our said violinist, well, he survived, only now missing at least 3 of his fingers on his left hand, mainly due to frostbite after he was captured. As such, this conflict was known to have actually caused major drawbacks to the American ideal standards. However, we can understand to the major point is that when it came time to the war is ended, many times over, many American soldiers would be remembered for their sacrifice. However, it is stated, though, that many letters were written to their family members. And the fact is, many times over, many Union and Confederate soldiers all wish that they had been with their families during this time of the conflict. One Union soldier even wrote of how he missed his loving wife and his children, and of which he wished he could return to those days to embrace them in his warm arms. And in such, many Union and Confederate soldiers would even promise to God that they would be a better man to their wife and children, especially when the war is ended. Because as soon as they returned to him, they would never do anything harmful to them. I am Celtic Templar. Hopefully you liked this video, like and subscribe for more. And as well, if y'all have any ideas for our next video, please let me know in the comments below. As well, y'all, if you want to actually take part in the poll, please subscribe and as well vote, so that way y'all can actually get the chance to actually know when our next video is going to come up. Anyways, guys, it's been Celtic Templar. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays. Farewell.